Big result for AFC Bournemouth. Even bigger game for Ghana's own Antoine Semenyo. Just initial thoughts on that one before we get into the details.
Oh, look, it's just like we said, 15 games you've lost on the bounce. The most one-sided fixture in English top flight history. And Bournemouth finally get the results.
Let's not even make this about just Man City. What have you liked about Iraola? Because we all saw signs when he first came. He got thumped in some of these games for believing in his philosophy.
His first 9-10 games, he struggled. I mean, look, you are coming from Spain, you are moving to England, and he had some visa issues with some of his staff. So not all of his staff could come to start. They were now trying to figure out their pressing. Look, this season, the players say we feel fitter, we are more in tune with the pressing system. We can press at a higher intensity for longer. Those things matter. Just feeling more comfortable what the coach is doing, be more in tune with it. And the players are reaping the benefits. And I would say, for us as Ghanaians, Antoine Semenyo is one of the biggest beneficiaries. You think, okay, they are losing Solanke, but it's like he's stepping in to fill that hole. He's showing that he's a top quality player. I mean, some say he's not good enough for Sudan, but he's clearly good enough to score against Man City.
This is what, goal number 5 for the season? 5 or 4 for the season, actually.
It feels like every week now there's a Semenyo
he either get a goal or an assist too.
I don't know why he's not in my FPL at this point. I think I've missed a trick there. I have to go and refigure things out and put him in. But look, Bournemouth have been very impressive. And those two results are home against City and Arsenal. Wonderful results. How many teams are going to be able to say we beat both City and Arsenal this season?
In the same season.
Very few teams. So that alone just shows the quality. And we always say these are the type of teams that entry into the top 6, top 7, get a Europa League or Conference League place is very realistic, and it will be a very exciting moment for Bournemouth as a club. Because, like we said, this is a club that has spent a lot of time in the lower divisions, very few top flight seasons. And since they've come to the Premier League, they've even been relegated once, come back up. They've been thumped many times by Man City. We've seen it so many times. Like we said, 15 games, I think so, on the bounce where they've lost. So it just shows Iraola is taking them to a new level. He's, finding that potential. And we have to be honest, the owners have also spent money.
They
a lot of these Premier League owners are very ready to spend money. They are very willing to invest. They are willing to pay some of the best coaches on the continent good money to leave. Because where the Premier League now is, I always say this, the European Super League was actually a response to the Premier League. That's the truth.
The Premier League is the Super League.
This is the Super League now, because you have coaches like Lopetegui who are Europa League winners coming, and they are struggling. They are mid-table teams and all of that. So look, this is the real Super League, and it's very difficult. And it's what is actually going to happen. It's going to be harder for the teams that get promoted every year, because these teams are spending money. They are getting millions. They are entrenching themselves. So the real losers in all of this are the Championship teams. Well, but credit to Bournemouth as well.
I think the Championship team gets on good money. They just need to spend it properly.
The good money and the Championship good money and the Premier League money.
I get what you mean.
There's a difference.
I get what you mean. Talk to me about Evanilson. I've been keeping an eye on him for a while. One of the big money signings you were talking about that teams like Bournemouth can purchase. He looks a little lost up until this game when he got. I think he got a goal last weekend.
I mean, he's been scoring here and there. He's getting in. But look, you come from playing in Porto, where you are the best team in the league. You dominate games. You get 3-4 chances a game. To Bournemouth, where you are getting 1 or 2. You need to be a bit more efficient, because things are not as easy for you. We all know Porto's level in Portugal. We all know that they dominate games. We all know that you're going to get a lot of shots, a lot of chances. It's different at Bournemouth. And you're also sharing the spotlight with a lot of hungry guys. And the chances are not as many. But he's doing very well, I believe, considering his start. He's slowly getting to it.
Because he has to settle down all of that language barrier.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we take these things for granted. I always say the psychology of it all. They are human beings. They are not robots who have just been put on their page to play. Just even imagine.
Most fans expect him to be dropped off and start performing.
Let's just imagine Evanilson has a wife and 2 kids. Let's just imagine. Just a thought experiment. You have to come all the way with your wife and 2 kids from Portugal. You have to now find your kids a new school. Is your wife happy with,
the new environment,
the new apartment or house you are living in? All those things contribute to a player's state of mind. So it's not as easy as we think. And now we've been conditioned to expect immediate success from a signing, because we are always focused on the top teams. But smaller teams, there's a bit of a luxury to settle in and that kind of stuff. But now, because of the scrutiny of social media and everything, and we always see that meme all the time, 007, 0 goals, 0 assists, 7 games. And they are laughing at a player for not contributing in his first 7 games. It's really tough. So, we have to give the player some credit. And he's slowly settling in. Bournemouth are slowly getting into their groove. So it'll be interesting to see how dangerous trips to the Vitality Stadium will become. Because for the most of their Premier League time, it's been quite an easy trip for a lot of teams to make. You know that, okay, they'll try their best, but you still
at least a draw or win here.
Exactly. Now we might start to see that teams will be a bit afraid when they come to their vitality. They might start to sit back, constrict their space. How do Bournemouth respond? So there's a lot of interesting things to see about Bournemouth and how teams adjust to them and how they adjust to teams adjusting to them.
Well, if you look at the numbers, Bournemouth have covered some of the most ground in the Premier League this season. So they are a team full of heart. They are a team that
like I said,
consistently running.
Like I said, the players say they feel fitter and they can run more.
Consistently running. Talk about Manchester City. And I was telling somebody that if you look at the trajectory of the last 5 games, they've been winning games by just a single goal. 2-1 here, 1-0 there, 3-2 there. They are laboring to create chances. They are laboring to put away their chances. I was doing the Premier League on Saturday when my panelist said, well, Phil Foden needed to step up and show why he's league MVP. It's not happening.
Well, Man City is it's a multifaceted problem. You lack Kevin De Bruyne's creativity at this point.
Yep.
You have a defense that's not as solid. Because that's the main thing for me. Because a lot of the time, you get one chance against City and you don't score. Look at first, Semenyo had an earlier chance, he didn't even score before his goal. Evanilson too got a chance.
In fact, teams are creating chances in the first 5 minutes. Brentford, Man City, they scored within 45 seconds.
Teams are creating a lot of chances against City, and for me, one of their weaknesses, Ederson. I don't believe Ederson is as good a goalkeeper as maybe Alisson or even David Raya, right? But because of his distribution, the way he allows them to play, his sweeping ability, as a shot stopper, I would say he's a level below. I won't say he's not good. That's a bit too far. But if I was to say Alisson is a shot stopper, 10 out of 10, I'll say Ederson is an 8 or a 7. But as a sweeper, he's one of the best. And with the ball at his feet, no one compares. So, as a team that's a 60% possession team, your keeper does more ball playing than shot stopping. But when you have a situation where your defense is not as strong and Ederson's having to concede more shots, that slight lower ability in his shot stopping is more exposed.
What has changed though about the defense? Because it's the same personnel.
Oh, you all know what's changed. The Ballon d'Or winner is not in the midfield. That's a big part of it because even Rodri, they keep the ball better with Rodri.
Yeah.
They are better defending transition. And Rodri, we all know him. I mean, I don't say he's a dirty player, but he's a smart player. He knows how to foul, when to foul, and to stop counter-attacks. All those little things, those intangibles. There's a reason why last season, Rodri lost only 2 games all season when he played.
True.
He lost the FA Cup final and one other game.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't remember which game it was, but 2 games all season that Rodri lost. There's a reason for that. They play so much better when he's on the pitch, just because he's able to set the tempo and those type of things. Then we also have to add, Erling Haaland missed a few chances. Haaland's superpower is getting those chances. So occasionally he'll miss some, but more often than not, because of his ability, he gets so many chances. He reminds me of Edison Cavani in the sense that there are chances only Cavani can get. There are chances only Haaland can get. So sometimes when he misses them, you can give him the benefit of the doubt. But in a game where your defense is not doing what they need to do, and you need to score a few more, that late chance he missed, that could have been the difference between a loss and a draw. That 1 point. How much would that 1 point matter at the end of the season? It's too early to tell, but he just didn't have the game. And he has some games where it's like, easy chances come, he doesn't score. Then he has some other games where it's like, every time he kicks the ball, it's going to the back of the net. So I wouldn't say there's a Haaland problem at all. Over the course of the season, he's probably still going to win the Golden Boot. He's still probably going to get 40 goals in all competitions, 25 in the league or whatever. That's fine, that's great. But once in a while, he has those bad games, and it's going. It seems that it's going to cost them a bit more this season because the defense is not as good. And I just want to add another issue is Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's decline, slowly but surely, he's becoming a liability. For me, I've never been impressed with Kyle Walker's defending in itself, but he always had that recovery pace to make it. But as you're getting older, that recovery pace is slowly diminishing. And it's going to reach a point where that recovery pace can't save him. And we might be getting to that point. So that's even part of the wider issue with the defense.
How does Pep solve his team's tight scoring situation going forward? Because like I mentioned, when they play games, the chances are not as free-flowing. Because like you and I know, Man City would create 10 chances. Haaland would probably score a hat-trick. They'll miss a couple. These days, they create like 3-4 good chances and then probably miss 2 of them. And then the game turns out how it did. How do you solve that going forward?
Well, I know, knowing Pep, he's going to focus on the defense first. Pep loves to control the game. And if they are conceding too many chances, he's probably going to feel the control is not right.
Okay.
So he's going to solve the control problem first and make them a lot harder to play through. When he feels that they fix that part, then he's probably going to start thinking, how can we make this team create more chances within this new defensive system? So for him, the first thing is to expose the defense less, probably, because they'll still create enough chances to win most games. But if they're able to limit their chances, those chances they create will be more useful. That's why I say, for me, offensively, there's not much of a problem. The problem is defensively, they're a bit more exposed. So they need to fix that more so than creating chances. And once Kevin De Bruyne comes back, that problem is going to solve itself, really.
Do you feel like their recent struggles up to game week 10 will have teams looking at them like, this team is not as strong, they are not as formidable, they don't pose much of a threat like they used to, we can actually get points out there?
I disagree. They were top of the table until they lost this
game
week.
So
they are still a formidable team.
But the signs were there that it was creaking. At least it was, they were struggling to win matches.
No one remembers after you get the 3 points, truth be told. But I feel you. When you watch it from a more holistic point of view, this is the weakest they've looked. But we've seen this quite a few times where we feel like, is this time? Is Man City finally faltering? And then they just go on a run in like February, March,
on
April.
That 15-16 game when you're talking about.
They do similar to what Arsenal did last year. They just pick up their steam towards the end of the season and blow teams away. So, and part of Man City is their fear factor.
Yep.
Teams already feel defeated before the game
That's
started.
what I was talking about.
But it takes a lot for that fear factor to go. And I don't believe it's enough for the fear factor to go just yet.
So Manchester City Football Club, things are not going as rosy as they would want to, but they are still just about where they want to be as far as this season is concerned. Guardiola did say that the first 3 games of the season represented pre-season for his squad. They've gotten into it, so it looks like they are warming themselves up into the campaign. Do send us some thoughts. Let me know how you feel about Manchester City's season so far. Can they navigate this season without Rodri? He obviously is a pivotal part of everything that they do. Let's do a quick break or turn around here on the show. When we